What's going on, everybody? This is Chuck, and you're watching the ITXP episode 9.1 Unreal Editor for Fortnite. Came out yesterday. It was launched on March 22nd at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I wanted to jump on this right away. If you follow me on TikTok, yes, I post other things other than technology. If you follow me on TikTok, the underscore IT underscore XP, you'll notice that I started talking about this yesterday. And I explained where I think the value of this comes in, especially for those that are new to this arena. Whether you play Fortnite or not, whether you are a programmer or not, whether you are a game developer or not, this is your first time where you will be able to actually create something within a universe that has already millions of players. Now, Fortnite Creative has been around for a while. I'm not saying that you could never have created in Fortnite. This is completely different. Fortnite Creative allowed you to build different maps within the game and allowed other folks to join it. What Epic Games is actually touting this platform as is to have the ability to create brand spanking new games within the Fortnite universe. So now think about this. You have an idea about a game that you've wanted to develop for years, in my case, decades, since I was a kid in the 1900s, the mid to late 1900s. And I never really found a platform for myself to build. Sure, I fooled around with Poser back in the 1990s, and I fooled around with Photoshop and various aspects of game design. Unity recently, and then Unreal Engine because of when I wanted to get into VR development. But all those platforms really required some sort of knowledge around development, game modeling, and this and that. When I started looking and kicking the tires and reading the documentation around Unreal Engine for Fortnite, they're really catering it to anyone that has never had experience before in coding or developing a game. And I find this really, really intriguing, and which is why I'm going all in on this. I've never said this before. I know I've joked around with VR. I wanted to learn VR. I think back in 2017, I started talking about progressive web apps and things like that. But it was something that it interested me, but I didn't have my whole heart into it. This is actually something I'm going to go all in on to the point where I may put aside some projects that I was doing for work and focusing on this. And I'm really adamant on this. And I keep pointing to the screen because I'm going to show you in a minute the ecosystem around this. But I think if you're interested in developing a game and leveraging Fortnite assets in the beginning just to understand how you can develop a game within this platform, this ecosystem, and then you can expand upon that further to go into developing your own assets outside of the Fortnite standards. Right? You have your all the assets that are in Fortnite are available to you. And when I mean assets, I'm talking about the characters, the skins, the various maybe not the skins, but the various landscapes. Those are called assets within a program, within a game. So when you're talking about assets, you can actually start building assets. Think about some of those NFT games that are out there. The Sandbox, right? What's the other one that I keep forgetting? That I played for a while, and I could Decentraland, right? Those things that people are creating in there are called assets. Now, yes, that was on the blockchain and things like that, and that is a component of the future of gaming because obviously blockchain is going to come into play with some of these assets and showing that you have the authenticity of that asset is now, oh, I created it on the blockchain. It's immutable, meaning I cannot change it, right? I think this is the first step for for Epic Games to get into that space, because now you're opening it up to a broad array of creative people. Not only creative people, right? We're talking about people that have never been in this space that can now work on developing something. So, case in point, myself. I downloaded this. I have some ideas. I've always had these ideas. I just never had the opportunity to develop it myself because of the various um, barriers to entry, as we call it, right? So if you talk about the business world, what are the barriers to entry to start up a business, a VR business? Well, you have to have developers, you have to have the equipment, blah, blah, blah. For Unreal Engine for Fortnite, all you need is a PC. But that's only the first step. So, oh, Chuck, I have a 9-year-old or 10-year-old. I have a child, a son, a daughter, whatever, that really wants to get into developing, but I don't want them to use my PC because X, Y, and Z. I have some porn. I don't know. The beauty about this, and I have to test this out with my own kids, if I can convince them to do this. Allegedly, and they showed this during a demo yesterday, you can actually create a world and have those on other platforms edit at the same time. Now, this is going to be a game changer if this actually works. Because if I spin up a world on my PC, I develop something on my PC just to start a world, and I'll get into that in a little bit. You can then have somebody share it with a team. And that team theoretically could be on Xbox, theoretically could be on PlayStation. I don't know about mobile yet, right? GeForce Now. But theoretically, they should be able to edit at the same time, add assets in there. Now, I think on a PC, you have to create those assets first, but as we go through this is going to be a continuing series. Hopefully, I get to do this every week. These won't be long episodes. I just want to show you snippets of the things that I've been working on over the course of time. And I still have a full-time job. That requires a lot of my attention. But I'm going to try and do this and create a series around this. And hopefully, by the time I'm done, I have a framework of a sample game where I learn all these things. So Unreal Engine for Fortnite is something we're going to get into. The second thing is, as I noted on my TikTok, there are already creators out there, people that have big ass platforms, that already have teams that are building within Fortnite Creative, where they're building maps or building death runs and things like that for people to play. But they couldn't really monetize on it. So the second aspect of this is people are now going to start monetizing the work that they're doing in Unreal Editor for Fortnite to the next level. So Fortnite has said, hey, we're going to open up a pool of money. I think it's 40% of all total revenue. I think that's what they said. Don't quote me on this. But you'll have the ability to be able to have a portion of that. You have to sign up for the creative portal. And when I went and did that, it said, oh, you have to have been developing on creative from over 21 days in the last 90 days or something like that. So I set the timer in yesterday, and I'm going to start doing editing in here and see if that's sufficient enough for me to count as a creator. I don't know yet, to be able to publish what I've created within Fortnite. But regardless of that, there are already teams out there that are creating in Fortnite that already have this relationship, this partnership with Fortnite to be creators. So this content creator portal. So I follow a lot of streamers in the Fortnite space, and one in particular I'm a big fan of, and because his story really aligned with mine, even though he's about 20 years younger than I am. But he comes from a family that immigrated to America, or emigrated into America, whichever way you want to talk about it. And he, from my perspective, I'd say he's a first generation American. Let's just put it that way. I am a first generation American, obviously a lot older. But he had a dream of becoming a gamer. Back when I was 8, 9 years old, my mom would always tell me that I would tell her that I'd move out to California because I wanted to develop video games. And that's something that I've always wanted to do, and something that I felt like I missed out on because coming from an immigrant family, they thought that was stupid. They laughed at it. It wasn't a career back then. It wasn't something that you can aspire to become because, as an immigrant family, that just how do you make money from video games? So I really aligned with Cypher for BK a lot because of his struggles to convince his family that being a streamer is something that he would be good at and make money out. So fast forward all these years later, he has a complete studio. He just opened up a headquarters in, I believe it's Austin, somewhere in Texas. And he actually said during the stream of the launch of Unreal Editor for Fortnite, he said, if you want to work for our studios, Oni Studios, you better learn verse programming. So there's a new programming language that's available for you within Unreal Editor for Fortnite that will actually allow you to program the game. And when I started kicking the tires on that, right? Look, I'm not an expert in any language. I learned C back in the 1900s. I learned C++. I learned some COBOL, and I'm kicking myself for not learning that more because I could have been a millionaire at this point, just programming in COBOL for all these banks. But regardless of that, I have competency in various languages that I can go in and figure things out. I jumped into verse programming. I'm like, holy shit, this is not that difficult. It's really not that difficult. But for those that have never started, I don't want to deter you from the fact that, oh, holy shit, I got to learn something that may be too complicated. Don't go into that mindset. Go into the mindset that this is now an opportunity for you to potentially change your life. Because as I noted in my TikTok, and you really should follow my TikTok because I say a lot more shit on there than I do here because it's a lot easier for me. It's a lot more convenient. I don't have the time to put in to do these hour-long episodes, even half-hour-long episodes, and then edit it and then upload it. As you can see, I try not to edit a lot of them. Sometimes I just kind of throw it up there because I don't have that capacity at the moment to do this unless I'm staying up all night and I value my sleep. Again, follow my TikTok. But I don't want to deter you from the fact that you need to learn something new. This is your opportunity to jump in on the ground floor. This is still beta. So you have alpha, which is kind of like the first release. Then you have beta, which is like a pilot program for those that are in the business world or whatever. You kind of expand it out to more people to use, to have them kick the tires. Things may not work well, whatever, before it goes into production. So you're at beta right now. So if you really are looking at a career change, you're like, I'm kind of stuck in whatever work that I'm doing. I'm in IT, and this is really not fun. It's boring. I'm in so many meetings and things like that. I want to do something fun. I want to do something creative because I'm not that creative in IT. You're not. You typically don't have the opportunity to be creative in IT. Jump in on this. Look, I'm in my basement, right? I'm in my basement. I don't make it pretty for anybody. I try to be as true to who I am as possible. I know you'll see a lot of these things being cut very nice, edited very nice, and things like that. I think I added a new graphic to my opening because hey, I needed something to make it catchy. But that's as far as I've gotten. I have a green screen. I'll probably throw it back here, maybe because it'll help better with the as I'm showing some of the things that I develop. But I don't know yet, right? I have the tools to be able to do it, but I'm not that guy. I'm not that person to make things clearly polished and things like that. I just want to take what's in my brain and dump it out into people that may take something out of it. And again, if one person out of the tens of people that watch this, right, finds usefulness out of this, and my job is done. I've always said throughout my career, there are people and opportunities that I've had because someone decided to put that information out there. And this is my way of paying it forward. If you followed my show from the beginning, I've said a number of times, a lot of the information I came across, maybe I shouldn't have had it, but I did. Poser. Maybe I shouldn't have had it, but I did. I was able to find it. My friends and I, we would call ourselves the information seekers because we would always find ways to get that information. And now, information is so much a lot easier to get by now. You can find things now a lot easier than it was back then, in the days of Gopher, in the days of UUNet, right, and Usenet. Those days were the fun days, the IRC, sharing files that way. Again, was it was it ethical? No, but I didn't have money. I didn't have money to pay for Adobe. I didn't have money for all this. Now I pay for Adobe because again, I was like, I've used a lot of their tools for so many years that I'm going to pay into the system. Oh, Chuck, you're falling into capitalism. Yeah, whatever. There's a lot of other free stuff that I could use besides Adobe, but it just makes sense for me, right? I used their tools for so many years, for all these decades. I'm just gonna pay into it now. If you choose not to do that, that's fine. I'm not about that. Whatever you need to be able to move yourself forward, go for it. I'm not advocating for you to do that because now it's a little bit more challenging. But to going back to my point, this is all free. Right? Editor is free for Fortnite. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't even need. All right, I built a decent computer. I'm not gonna lie, right? I built a decent computer, latest i9 Intel processor, 64 gigs of RAM. I only have a NVIDIA 2060 in there because that's all I could afford. But whatever you have lying around that will meet the requirements of it, just get it. Get there. If it's going to be slow, it's going to be slow. Don't worry about that. Just start doing this. And I found that when I focus on the things like, oh, I don't have a fast processor, I can't do this, I don't have a lot of memory, I can't do this. That really is a limiting behavior from my perspective, and I've limited myself over the years because I kept saying I made excuses for this. Oh, I can't do this because X, Y, and Z. Right? Those are limiting behaviors. So break those limiting behaviors. If you have a system that can run Fortnite, that can run the Unreal Editor for Fortnite, go ahead and do it. Is it going to be slow for you? Probably, but you know what? Suck it up, Buttercup, and continue learning. This is what I'm trying to get into your head. Just start learning, doing, creating. Stop going to Starbucks. Stop going to X, Y, and Z. Save some money to build your own PC. Hell, it's upstairs. I think you can actually run Fortnite on the. I'm looking to make sure I'm not missing a meeting. On the IT11 mini PC. Geekom, GEEKOM IT11. Check out the specs of that. The one I paid for was about $800 because I put 64 gigs of RAM and a terabyte hard drive, but you should be able to get the cheaper end model. So if you save up your money, maybe there's something that you can do. And it's like this big. It's not that big at all. It's a small form factor PC, mini PC that you can use for your development environment. And you have to save up money. So if it takes you 6 months to save up for that or a year to save up for that, all throughout that time, you're going to be developing in Unreal Editor for Fortnite. All right, so let's jump into it and let's talk through some of the components of Unreal Editor for Fortnite, and we'll see what happens. So let's get into Fortnite. Let me go here. So everything comes from the Epic Games Store launcher. Let me transition here. Boom. All right, so you don't have to see my face. So the first thing you're going to need to do, again, if you play Fortnite already, you have this stuff, right? You have your Epic launcher, you have Fortnite. You do need Fortnite in order to be able to use the Unreal Editor for Fortnite, obviously. And I'll show you why in a few minutes. But you just go to the store. It's right here. Get it now. I already have it, and it'll install. It should talk you through the requirements. right? It says you need to have Fortnite to get UEFN. You'll hear this time and time again, UEFN. So what if you can run Fortnite, you can run UEFN. All right. So once you install it, it's a pretty long install. Excuse me. It'll also update Fortnite as well. So if you're in Fortnite, you have to shut it down. But once you install it and have everything restart, you just launch the Unreal Editor for Fortnite. It'll take a few seconds to load up here. And there's some documentation here I'll go through after this launches, because I want to give you a brief look at what I've done so far. Not much, believe me, not much. But as it loads, you'll be presented with a couple of different options. So this is the editor. It'll start loading up. And it says, hey, welcome to Unreal Editor, and you have a few things that you can look through. The first thing you're going to want to do is go into your first hour in UEFN. That is going to be critical to your success here. I actually started this, and right now I'm on working with content, but it goes through the introduction, it goes through components of the editor, playtesting, and various things. This is where you should start. Forget about anything else. Start here. Okay? Again, look, this is all video stuff, and this is all for free. You have to create an account. You already have an account for Fortnite, but you have to create an account and things like that. But you go through here and you go through the videos. Again, all for free. All for free. So if I go back to the editor, all right, so I'll go here. I was like, all right, I'm done. I have everything going on. It says, here are your projects. You have your project section. You have some island templates that you can start off on, so it doesn't even have to be blank or anything. You just start off with various islands, and then you have some examples. Here's the verse template. So we're going to get into this a little bit later, but I just want to show you what we have. So when I did my first hour, right, let me open this up. Again, a lot of this has nothing in there, but I just want to show you what it looks like. So here is the first design that I have, right? It's just launch, players spawning in, and that's it, right? Pretty straightforward. Nothing really too detailed here at this point. But let me switch to my project. So I'm going to close this project. I'm going to open up my other project. I'm going to open up my first Verse project. So now Verse, remember I talked about Verse, is a new programming language within the Unreal Editor for Fortnite. And this is where you can actually start coding. So this asset here, which is a device, is their Hello World asset. So let's go into there. So I clicked on that, and I clicked on Verse. So the other thing you'll need to have installed is VS Code. Again, I'm an IT person. I use VS Code all the time. I already had it installed. If you don't have it installed, it will prompt you, hey, you're going to need VS Code for this. Do you want to install VS Code? Just install it, take the defaults, and you're good to go. Now, one thing that I always do, and again, this is just from my own personal setup, is I always have most of my stuff in a data drive I call F. And I always leave the C drive to more operating system type stuff or installs for applications. So you'll see I have like 900 gigs available, 600 free. My F drive has the most, right? It was a 2 terabyte drive, so I have 100. So when you're doing things like this, try to save your data in a drive that's outside of the operating system folder. That's just kind of for myself best practices. And if you have the ability to have a cache drive, I had a 256 gig cache drive that was lying around. I threw it into this machine. It was an SSD drive, and I'm using that for my cache drive. Again, it may be going a little bit too depth for some of you, but regardless, here we are. So here's your verse programming, right? Um, VS Code picked up the extension .verse. It installed the IntelliSense plugins. So now if I make a mistake in my development, it'll give me a little squiggly line. And if I hover over it, it's going to say, hey, there's something missing, right? Because, oh, dummy, you're missing a quote, right? But again, even if you don't know anything about what the hell I just said about IntelliSense and VS Code and squiggly lines and quotes and things like that, don't worry about it, right? Epic Games has got you. Epic Games has got you. So, but anyway, for those that have some insight into this, this is what it looks like. I just added another print statement. So the print statement is going to output into the game or output onto the screen. Print, get it? Print, output, print, right? Nothing really challenging here. Everything that needs to run is underneath this block of code. All right. So if I go back to my editor, and this is where I'm going to show you why you need Fortnite, and you go, hey, let's launch this session, it's going to actually start launching Fortnite. And because a lot of this or all of this actually runs within Fortnite, this is why you need Fortnite to be able to do anything in here. Now, it doesn't publish into Fortnite per se, right? It doesn't allow, so if you create something, it doesn't allow other people to use it right off the bat. This is where that creator portal comes in, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it allows you to jump into creative and test out what you've done so far. So as it loads, and if I was smart enough, I could speed this up, but I probably won't speed this up because I'm not going to edit this. As it loads, you're gonna jump into your quote unquote world, or I'm going to use the term map because that's what the Fortnite fans use. It's a map, but remember, we're not just building maps. We're going to build a game. We're going to build a game within Fortnite. And it's going to be, hopefully at the end of all this, as I go through the series of events within maybe 6 months to a year, we will have a game that will be accessible, if I can get this done properly, within Fortnite. The Fortnite world, I should say, the Fortnite ecosystem. So you'll see that here's the little terminal, the device that I added, the asset that I added. You'll notice that it's also using my skin that I use to play Fortnite, and I'm gonna hit start game. So as I hit start game, I can go into the log, and here is a line of code that I added in my verse program. Right, so I think I closed out of CS Code for some reason. I don't know why, but here's the asset, right? And I hit verse, and it's load. Here's my line of code. If I wanted to add something else, I can Control C this, right? Control V that, and then I just type in, holy cow, this actually works. Right, save that. Go back into my editor. All right, I can't push the changes yet because it's actually going. So if I go here, I go back here, I end the game. Now theoretically, I know. Theoretically, I can just go back here. Once the game has ended, I should be able to push my changes. Let's see if this goes. So while that's going, let me see if, yeah, that's why it's still going there. There we go. All right. So now that the game has ended, I can push my changes. Now it's updating. As you can see, it's updating the session. And this is all live. Remember, I didn't exit out of this. I'm still here. And you can see on this part, it's still updating. This is all live. Most of the time, you have to end your gameplay or end your session and then upload the changes. This is live updating. So when I talk about somebody going on another platform to be able to edit your game, this is what I'm talking about. Again, this is all theoretical. Within Creative 2.0, within Fortnite, you should be able to do this. Again, I don't know the mechanics of this yet, but again, we're all learning at the same time. This is all brand new for those of us that have never done this before, and we're gonna go learn this together. If you're watching this now, whatever date it is, uh, download this stuff. Go through it now. Maybe we'll be able to collaborate together. Just reach out to me on TikTok, or DM me on TikTok, or Instagram, or just shoot me old fashioned email, social-media@theitxp.com. Just do that. So look, everything's been updated. Let's see if I can start this game, and let's see if my line went in there. Let's see. Holy cow, this actually works. That line that I just added, boom, goes back in there. I didn't have to exit out of anything. I didn't have to close out of anything. All I had to do was end the game, right? End the game, and then that ability to push the changes was made available in the Unreal editor. So again, very, very basic overview of what is available today that I've gone through so far. But what I also want to show you is the Learn Programming with Verse. You're going to learn programming. I'll put the links in the show notes on YouTube. Or if you're listening to this audio, it's better if you go on YouTube to actually see some of this stuff. But I'll put the links in there, and you can actually go through it. So you'll have two things that you're going to want to go through. You're going to want to go through the first hour in UEFN, and then you're going to want to go to Learn Programming with Verse. I think, honestly, for those that actually want to learn programming, this is probably the best place to focus your attention on, because this is going to give you that granularity that you'll be able to work with. For those that don't want to work with code, you can actually focus on UEFN editor, learning how to build different things, learning about lighting and props and effects and animation. Go here. If you're college folks and you're like, oh, me and my friends can get on this, somebody's going to need to be a dev, a programmer, learn Verse. Somebody's going to need to be kind of the animator, and you two will kind of work together. Or you both can do everything, right? It's just really depending on where you want to go. I talked to my TikTok, and again, I'll put this on the show notes. So let me go back to me. I talked on my TikTok about how, regardless of whether or not you have experience in programming, experience in scripting, experience in any type of language, you should want to learn how to do this Verse programming, because it gives you a lot more granular control around what you want the assets to do. Right? But if that's not your forte, if that's not what you want to do, there is going to be something for everyone within this ecosystem, whether it's animation, whether it's design, whether it's producing. You can actually have a role in here with Unreal Editor for Fortnite to be able to accomplish something that you may have thought was never available to you. I'm going to say this again. This is the first time in my lifetime, and I could be wrong, that game development has been made accessible to everyone. Unity, there's a big learning curve. Even the Unreal Engine itself is a learning curve. There's whole college courses to take on this. There's paid plans to take on this. This is all free. So now you're at a precipice of something new. Jump in on it. You missed out, like I said on TikTok, you missed out on Bitcoin, you missed out on crypto, you missed out on NFTs. Don't miss out on this. This is going to be your entryway, your gateway to the metaverse. This is the first step. Yes, I understand there are other people that are doing it, right? Meta, blah, blah, blah. But stick with Epic Games. Stick with Epic Games. They are going down the right track here. We talked about a few times around the metaverse and what Facebook, or excuse me, Meta did. They're going to screw it up. I think Zuckerberg has really poor vision of what his metaverse is going to be. I don't know if you jumped into spaces or whatever they call it on the Oculus. I'm pointing at my Oculus here. It doesn't feel right. Even VR chat to some extent doesn't feel right. These guys here, I think what they've done is they're waiting for the early adopters to make mistakes. They're going to learn from their mistakes, and they're going to slow roll the entry into the metaverse by doing this, right? This has been in development for a while, right? This has been so there's this concept in business on how you attract people to kind of use their products, right? You give it away for free, you kind of do things like that, and then you kind of bring people in. So Epic Games has brought people in. They said something like 70 million active users per month. That's a lot. 70 million active users per month. Over the course of 5 years, that is insane. They're still bringing in 70 million people. I think Roblox has 250 million people per month, right? But a lot of those are younger kids. I remember my girls were playing Roblox 5 years ago, and they were, 6 and 7, right? So Fortnite, yeah, you have a lot of 6-year-olds playing, but again, I think this is a time, if you're a parent and your child plays Fortnite or they play Roblox and you're seeing them trying to be creative, figuring out what to do, introduce them to this. Learn together. I think this is a good opportunity for parents and children to learn together on something that may be beneficial. Start your own company, right? We talk about opportunities. I said this in TikTok. I hate repeating it, but we talk about opportunities that, the color of my skin prevents me from doing X, Y, and Z. The gender I identify prevents me from doing X, Y, Z. I have limited ability to move because blah, blah, blah. The accessibility portion, if you have some physical limitations, there's nothing that I know because I'm not in that world, but I'm sure that there's opportunities for those with limited physical ability to be able to do something in here. There has to be accessibility models, and if there's not, then maybe we build something for you to do that, right? But I'm sure because I've seen a lot of advancements in medical technology that allow people to do things with technology. This may be it. I don't know. But for the latter, right, or for the former, and where I talked about race and gender, technology doesn't see race or gender. It's the people that use it that make it see race or gender. Technology doesn't care. Remember, technology is all zeros and ones. That's it. 0 and 1. Is it on or is it off? Is it on? Is it off? Is it on? That's it. That's all it cares about. That's all you're telling. Every time you type a piece of code or whatever, it's just translating it back to the machine language, the lower level language. 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Doesn't care about your ethnicity. Doesn't care about the color of your skin. Doesn't care about your gender identity, right? As long as you can tell it to do something, that's what it's going to do. So this is your opportunity, forget everything aside, to take advantage and maybe, potentially, change the course of your career, change the course of your life, hopefully for the better. And honestly, if you think about everything that I've said up until this point, this is 9 years doing this stuff, right? Just talking through the various insights that I've had throughout the course of my career. To date, this is the only thing that I can see that breaks down those barriers for everyone to say, I'm going to create something and hopefully I can get it published that people will actually like. This is that. So take that opportunity now to jump in on this, to start learning. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a challenge. But, like I said before, suck it up, Buttercup, and start learning. Because if you're not learning, what are you doing? You're dying. Right? Yeah, I like my free time, blah, blah. That's fine. You can do that. But take an hour a day. You can do an hour a day. Take an hour a day and learn this stuff. Learn it. create. We need more creative people here because AI is going to take over the world. So we need creative people to be able to create things. So that way you can live a fulfilling life. And hell, look, I do this for free, but I could charge. I could charge for this, but I don't want to because again, I'm paying back. I'm giving back to the community that has helped me throughout my career. So that's what I want to do for you. So follow me on this journey. Let us build something together. If you want to build something with me, reach out to me. Either DM me on TikTok, just hit me. DM me on TikTok, it's easier. But if you want to use email, social-media@theitxp.com, and let's create something together, right? We'll do that. We'll see what happens. We'll see how far we can get. And, if you've never failed in your life, then have you really lived your life? That's the way I look at it. I always tell my kids, you got to fail at something. You have to fail. Because if you don't fail, you're not learning. So fail. Let's fail together. And then that way we can pick ourselves up and figure out what the next move is for this. Thanks for listening. Episode 9.1. I'm, again, going to try to do this every week just to talk through the progression of this. But follow me on TikTok, _IT_XP. And we'll talk to you. I'm moving to Rumble as well. I'm going to start posting on Rumble because I think that's another platform that will allow my voice to be heard a little bit more, not drowned out by all the other shit that's on YouTube. But I'll be on Rumble probably starting next week. I'll have all this stuff on there as well. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.